I just thank you for your introductions, all of you. It really fits right into what Cigna's trying to do. And just if we all step back a minute, you know, what, at the end of the day, Cigna's trying to do the right thing with minority-owned business. And what we're trying to do is establish a program that benefits the minority-owned community. And in our business, it's quality, access to providers, and price. So, you know, those are the three key areas that drive insurance purchases and how we can help this community. And that's what we're trying to do. And I'll have to admit, we're fine tuning our offering as we go. We brainstormed this agenda back maybe early December, and we've changed the program 4 times since then, as Christine will attest to. So you will see the latest version, and I welcome your feedback at any time during this presentation. Cut me off, ask questions, and nothing is ask away, because it's very sensitive conversation to everyone, and everyone has the same questions in their head. And the first question is, what is minority owned? And you know, minority owned is, we've kind of designated in the minority community, you can see minority and women. So women, we're African American, Indian, Asian, and anything else that's considered a minority. So it's an open-ended program. And so how will Cigna know if a group fits into this bucket? And the answer to that question is, Dickerson will send in the bid request, and it'll say minority-owned business at the top, period, the end. Then it goes into the Cigna system, and we log it as such. And then the case gets a gold star on its head for Cigna underwriting, implementation, access, and service. I said a lot there, a lot of generality, a lot of ambiguity. I'm going to stop there for questions, because even what I said creates questions in my own brain.
I have a question. I mean, I think the answer is yes, based on what you described, since it's nicely broad. But what about religious minority? You know, there are religions that consider themselves to be, and rightly so, not in the majority. And would that be something that qualifies, regardless of gender?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Anything else before we dig in here a little bit?
Yeah, I have a question, and I'm asking for a friend, not for myself. What if we had a group in which, well, really nobody belonged to any minority categories, but you have a great program? What if a broker were to try to slip in a non-minority business into the program?
We would not know.
Just asking for a friend.
Yes. It's a great question, and these are the kind of questions I welcome, if you can believe it or not.
So, Bob, are you saying if Dickerson says it's a minority-owned group, then Cigna will honor it as a minority-owned group?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Well, I have a thing I want to say, which is I think the intent of this is to give opportunities to underserved or lesser served or lesser advantaged, potentially, people. And as I look at this group, I also see even the brokers themselves, you know, in some ways could be considered to have, and Dickerson also, you know, due to its background. So I just want to say, I think when we look at this opportunity, it's working on multiple levels in terms of who it's helping and how it's helping and serving. So I appreciate the broadness, because I think honestly, without even violating the intent of it, it will still do what it's intended.
I
Right.
believe so, and you can see we chose Dickerson as our vendor of choice for a reason, right?
Cool.
Yep. And to that point, if you look at the flip side, I know I'm being very open-ended, but there's a side to this where, I mean, who is Cigna to say that you're not a minority at some point? That's why it's described as it is. But again, the intent, as you aptly stated, is to help the underserved community. That's what we're trying to do, wherever that is. Okay,
Cool.
so those are some generalities, but I wanted to first outline how you get the gold star on your head, and I think we've accomplished that so far. The second thing I wanted to do is tell you, okay, what are we offering to these folks? And the answer to that question is what we're trying to offer is quality, access, and price. That's what we're trying to do. That's our intent. And we're in the insurance business, that's the heart of it. So as you look at this program, we are offering Cigna's total range of products to the minority-owned business with a gold star on their head for underwriting, price, and access. And there's the gatekeeper that Cigna's using is we do an RX review on every prospect that comes through the door. So the extent of our offer and the favorable pricing of our offer will depend on the RX review score. Everyone's familiar with it because, I mean, most of the carriers are doing RX review. You send in a member level census. Cigna runs the prescriptions that they're taking, and we come up with a score. And depending on that score, the group could be a 20% discount, a load, standard, or declined. That score also kind of directs the products that we're going to offer to your people or suggest, and we're not going to offer. And what I'm talking about is fully insured or self-funding, level funding. Fully insured, everyone's familiar with it. And then level funding, I know most of you, your folks have sold Cigna before. You're familiar with our level funding product. It's a self-funded product that is made to look, taste, and smell like a fully insured plan with a dividend. That's the idea. So although I'm saying those are the two medical plans we offer, but in honesty, we offer the full range of Cigna products to the minority community. And, we'll use total self-funding or, we have a minimum premium. So it's wide open, but I'm leading with fully insured and level funding because we're seeing that that's the best fit for the minority-owned businesses for budget and our best price point. I'm going to stop there. Does that raise any questions, or is everyone somewhat familiar with those two products?
Yes.
Okay. And then the other thing I want to point to is access. We are showing all of our networks to the minority-owned community. What we've found, we try to create some relationships with certain providers and try to work special deals for the minority community, which we have. But at the end of the day, most people want to continue using the same physicians that they have. I asked you to introduce yourselves. I got Northern California, I got the Inland Empire, I got Orange County and LA. People, it's too hard to narrow the networks because at the end of the day, the HR department's going to look at it and say, how many people am I disrupting? And that's how programs are viewed as helpful or just too disruptive. So every narrow network that we offer, we will also offer our full network side by side. It'll be a different price point, but we're trying to eliminate the disruption that seems to drive everybody insane from changing carriers, and that's the intent. Any questions on networks, or are we good there? Good? Okay. So let's see. And then pricing. Pricing is, as I mentioned, it's going to be, Cigna is living and dying by this RX review. That's how they're determining, how deep or not to accept. And, the pricing on these in our standard platform are kind of like minus 20% to plus 20% to a decline, and anywhere in between. And then the minority-owned business Gold Star gets put in on top of that. So that's the pricing. And I know that's vague, but it's also, Cigna is offering a product, but using the RX review to protect ourselves. All right. And, now I have like a 50-page PowerPoint that I'm not going to go through, but I'm going to buzz through.
I was wondering about that. We'll skip some, don't worry. I know how you do this.
We hit the buzz points, but I'm going to, and before I determine how fast I'm going to go through this, can I stop? How many people are familiar with the Cigna level funding? Is everyone familiar with it, sold it? Do they understand it on the phone here?
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. All right. Let's see. I'm going to just kind of highlight each slide, and then please stop, ask questions, do whatever you want to do, and it'll generate some good conversation, I think.
Before you, can I ask one quick question?
Please.
So from what you're telling us, is it safe to say that the Gold Star will result in a discount no matter what, even if it's, let's say, quote, really sick group, the RX review is just terrible, right? Even so, the Gold Star results in them getting a better discount than they would through this program than they would otherwise.
Yes, everything up until, if the RX review shows a hemophiliac for 800,000, Cigna's going to walk away from the group no matter who you are.
Okay.
Something so like that. But there, I'm sorry?
So you're saying, you still have the right to decline a group if you have to, but if you're going to approve them, you're going to give them a little bit of a better rate than you would otherwise because of the Gold Star. Right. Even if it's fluctuating somewhere between minus 20 and plus 20, it's going to still be, let's say, minus 19 instead, or let's say it was going to be a 20% higher rate because of the RX. You'll maybe give them 19%, 18%, something because of the Gold Star that won't be as bad as they would have gotten otherwise.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, thank you.
And it also extends to participation. So, a lot of the minority-owned community slices with Kaiser or has other, we're going to be more lenient on our underwriting requirements for the minority-owned business, again, with the RX review protecting us.
Right. And Bob, I have the slides up. I'm happy to advance them for you, or if it's easier for you to share your desktop, I'm open to either one.
I'll let you do it, Christine,
okay.
Because you and I have done this before. Okay.
Moving on.
So hit it. Yep.
I think we're good
All right.
here.
So administrative. We went through. Dickerson puts minority-owned business in the bid specs. That gets the Gold Star. Products. Cigna's got everything. Everyone's familiar: life, medical, dental, vision, LTD, STD, voluntary. I'm focusing today mostly on the medical, but we do have, great integration credits for life, dental, and the other products that you sell. But we'll go from there. Under 100, we sell level funding because of SB 161. Over 100, we sell everything. I wrote beware at 250 employees because, and I'll just share with everyone, we have our GA contract goes to 250. When you get above 250, you have to build in all the players. So just be aware of that. And the clients sign off on all Cigna business through a commission form. So if you have a case that we sell over 300, it'll show X% to broker, X% to GA. It's fully transparent. So going into the deal, just know that. And most people are cool with it if you explain it up front. Level funding, SB 161, we talked about. The minority-owned business we talked about. We're doing great behavioral programs, behavioral mental health, virtual. Big push for Cigna these days with the pandemic is mental health and virtual care. We have, for example, depression, OCD programs. We have specialized programs depending on who, what, where, and when. And then access is the last slide. I'm going to stop. And does that generate any questions? Because some of these things we're going to dig into a little more detail as the show goes on, but everyone good? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Christine. Basically, it's standard bid specs, census information. The only thing that I'm going to emphasize again is we're going to need a member level census to perform the prescription review, RX review, with name, gender, date of birth, and zip. Member by member, not employee. So as I mentioned, our 20% load or discount plus depends on that RX review. We need that member level census to get it. Without it, it's just going to stall the whole process. Okay, next. This is just next general stuff. These are your typical bid specs. Next. Next, we did these. Next. Next. Level funding. Okay, so as I mentioned, I work for Great West, and all we sold were self-funded products. So, and as I've worked with the Dickerson folks, they're very well attuned to all the pieces of self-funding. But I want to emphasize that this is level funding, and what we're trying to do is make this look like a fully insured plan. It's a self-funded product that looks, tastes, and smells like a fully insured plan. And if you look at that total cost column in our proposal, that is the maximum cost that the client can pay. And it gives you employee, spouse, child, family rates. It gives you a monthly total, and it gives you an annual total. And that is the drop dead number for the client, just like a fully insured plan. So it's $1 million, the total annual cost. And that's what the client pays 1/1 to 12/31. That's their total premium. The level funding after the plan year ends will refund the client any claim, any surplus out of that claims funding pot, or that 610. So anything that you don't use of the $610,000 is a 50-50 split between client and Cigna. So that's I'm calling it a dividend, but it's really a credit to next year's premiums, and you have to renew to get it. So we try to simplify this presentation when we sell to clients, as opposed to complicate it, because as soon as you complicate it, and I've done it over the time where I've made the mistake and people just walk away, it's too confusing. So we start with the total cost. We say that's all you're going to pay, and the rest of the sheet is the calculation of the dividend. I'm going to stop there just to ask a question. The reason this product's important, this is all we sell under 100 employees because of SB 161. And then over 100, we have the full range. So your question is, you don't sell fully insured under 100? No, we sell level funding, and this is it.
Bob, it's Christine. Just to make sure everyone, I think most people understand the level funded, but I think one important thing that we need to let the clients know is that the total exposure is the 1,000,003, and they can't ever go above that. You know, there's a protection there that's already built in. It's not like they're exposed beyond that, and they could get some of the 610 back, right? That's what we're trying to tell the client.
Exactly.
Okay.
Let me stop there. Please, somebody ask a question from what Christine just said, because let me go through one other thing. So for our minority-owned businesses, a gold star on the level funding. Depending on your RX review, you see that the fixed costs on this plan are $32,000 a month. If you have a favorable RX review, Cigna will offer up to 6 months fixed cost free. So it's
I'd like to
180,000.
interject there.
Yeah.
I'd like to interject there, Bob. So what you're saying is under insurance and admin costs, if it gets a favorable, the more favorable review, they could get actually 6 months free of insurance and admin costs.
Correct.
And so depending on the RX, if it's very good, you get 6 months free. If it's not so good, but before decline, it would be 1 month free, correct?
You could do 1 month, it could be 0 months, it could be 3 months, you know, it goes on a score.
Okay.
Is that just for the first time they become a client? It's not like every year, right?
Correct.
So it's kind of like an incentive for changing carriers.
Exactly.
And I like to say, you know, with this program, you can never lose, you can only win, because you have the cost of the plan, even if the claims come in wildly high, and Cigna is like, wow, we really did not do a good RX scrub or whatever. You can never pay more than that, and on a real true self-funded plan, you definitely could. So you can never lose, but you can win if the group comes in healthy.
Exactly.
If the group comes in non-healthy, does the group take the risk of being declined their renewal?
No, that's a great question. A lot of self-funded plans, as you see in the market, they laser people, they might not renew you. This is all Cigna products, and it's guaranteed renewable as long as Cigna's in business in California. Great question. The other question, the other question that we get is, like, some self-funded plans, when you terminate them, there's run-out cost. As Christine said, and I'm just emphasizing again, this is all inclusive, just like a fully insured plan. So we've taken away every risk factor for someone to go self-funding. And like I said, we made it look, taste, and smell like a fully insured plan. The second incentive is, you see that 610,000 for new customers, minority owned. We're going to guarantee them that they're going to get a refund. Depending on the RX score, will depend on how much in the first year.
That's right.
So, you know, if you look at that, if somebody rings the bell on the RX score, you know, they'll get like 180,000 off of their fixed cost, and they'll get maybe a $20,000 to $30,000 guaranteed refund. In the first year. And what we're doing is we're kind of, we've done this product for a long time, and we're often compared to fully insured plans. And through this guaranteed refund, we're kind of training the customer. They get a monthly claim report. They can track their claim funding relative to that 610 each and every month. And now they have skin in the game, and they can, see the value of plan design, policing the plan, who they hire. But it's their money. Other things that are nice about the program under 100 is its composite rates. You don't have age rating. So these rates that you see, every employee gets, so there's less confusion. And we market to every state in the country. So it doesn't have to be in California out. So you can see some of the groups that we kind of have a monopoly on, or it's us, Aetna, and UHC. We get away from the California SB 161 issues. Any questions?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, go. Next. We went through all this. Next. 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 Again, let's stop here. I went through the last 4 slides. If you get in with a customer who happened to work as an actuary in his last job, you can show them those last 5 slides. They go through all the details of the insurance and admin costs, the claims funding, and ands, ifs, and buts. And it's exactly what I'm in a presentation I'm trying to stay away from to 98% of the clients. But if the information's there if you need it. I went through, if you get a high GRX score, you get 6 months fixed cost free. You see that there. Low, you get 3 months. Oh, there it is. No GRX discount or increment. You get 1 month. And then you see this 200 per member surplus guarantee. So if you take, let's say you have a group of 80 employees, is normally about 150 members times $200. This group's guaranteed a $30,000 surplus, split 50-50 between Cigna and client. Cigna, the client gets 15,000 back, and Cigna keeps 15,000. Okay, next. Wait, this is interesting. I love this, for the clients in the under 100 and over 100. I mean, we looked at that last client was $1 million for a small case. We give full reporting to these customers that they, in fully insured world, you never get. You see everything. You see your claims, the RXs you use, the physicians you see, the hospitals you see, claims by line of coverage, claims versus benchmark. And it allows you to be a consultant and really show your customers where they're using it, where they're not getting benefits, so on and so forth. So you get a full package at renewal and halfway through the year, and you get a monthly claim report. Next. This is, I'm blowing through this because this is all the, I'll call it actuary stuff. Next. Okay, so go back one if you would. Minority-owned businesses, and because you're going through Dickerson, you're going to get a single point of contact within Cigna's claims office for the plan administrator. So this sounds like whatever, but it's gold, where your plan administrators develop relationships with the Cigna person within the claim office, and they handle all the complex stuff, the RX stuff that, you know, not in the formulary, in the formulary, transition of care. It's really a nice feature in today's world where it's so complicated. So that, because you're under the Dickerson's Gold Star, you get that. Next. Cigna's got 24/7 customer support. Next. Cigna's developed a new program. It's called One Guide. And all this is we put together a pre-effective date advocacy team for new customers. So we make a sale, let's say it's a 3/1 effective date. We turn on our advocacy unit on 2/1 for the 3/1 effective date during open enrollment. Employees, spouses, kids can call. These advocates have all the benefits, all the comparisons, all the prices, all the prescriptions that are in the formulary, all the physicians that are in network and out of network. They'll outreach calls, help the prescription transition to care. And then it flows right into our customer service. So I love this thing. Most we used to do business where we didn't start till after the effective date, and by then it's too late. So
Right.
now we have this One Guide service. Again, what we're trying to do is the service quality, enhance it, and that's One Guide. Next.
Quick question, Bob. Is that only for a month or two during the transition, or does that stay available all year?
It flows. It goes all year. It flows right into our 24/7, our customer service, and to our claim service. And what they do is they're getting information on the individual to help them pre-enrollment, at the effective date, transition to care, and then our health improvement community, it sets us up. I mean, how many times have we sold a case? Oh my God, my RX that I need tomorrow is not in the formulary, or my specialty drug, or I
my
planned
doctor.
a surgery, I can't do it.
Right.
This prevents all that noise, and it's just made my life easier.
Can I ask one thing? How much engagement do you see on that? Because I know there are a lot of things that get offered, and the engagement piece can just be lost from whatever the noise is.
That's a great question. Yeah, it depends on really if you have a sharp plan administrator, they're pushing this, and they don't want to answer the question. It's too complicated. Formularies, transition to care, specialty drugs. I mean, it's really hard for us to keep track of it. And what we do is we're linking them right to the claim person that has the right answers, and we'll reach out to the physicians to get what they need. All those annoying wait times, hold times. So, but you're right. We have this set up, and then we find, on the low groups, maybe 20%, but the smart people, they have their open enrollment meetings, and the question comes in, and what they do is our health improvement, our enrollers will call the One Guide line, and when they're there. But in today's world, there's so few enrollment meetings. They're the Zoom calls, and then you hang up, and then they call you, right? So this is it's a great question. Is how do you promote it, and then really it comes up to employer discipline and them pushing it.
Okay, yeah, and broker discipline, I imagine, but that's good to know that on the low end it's like 20%. That's better than I expected. So
Yeah.
Well, and it's because we pitch it like I'm pitching it to you, that because I'm the one that gets these questions and I know you do too, and I don't know the answers. Like these formularies, you gotta really get to the right people. It's hard.
Yeah. It's educating for sure. Okay.
We have online access for customers to use ID cards, track claims. We all have that. I don't mean to downplay it, but I don't want to bore you. Keep going. Virtual care, again, we have telehealth. We have, we use Amwell MD Live. In the next slide, you're going to see we're big in mental health, virtual behavioral care, huge, because trying to get a mental health provider these days is really hard. And these people, you can call them, have a session, get prescriptions. It's the new world. Next. Next, these are just more digital tools. We have a COVID hotline, minority-owned business, COVID hotline. So again, all the questions that come in there, we have a hotline. Minority-owned business, keep going. Let's see. This is just the sensitivity. We covered that at the beginning. Who's minority? What we're trying to do. Keep going. We've kind of. At the beginning of this, we went to a couple of our local medical groups, and they seem to serve the minority community better than others because they are housed there, and they just had a better understanding. And although at the beginning of this program we promoted them, we found at the end that the clients cared more about access for everybody. So, and the people that valued this the most will use them anyway. So I probably shouldn't say that, but keep going. Behavioral, we spoke about. Keep going. These are the keep going. Depression, neural health. Keep going. Next slide. Here we go. So all of you, on every sale now, before anybody moves to any carrier, it's this disruption analysis. So on this grid, I've given you every medical group in California, Northern California, Southern California. It gives you whether they're in Cigna's full HMO, which pretty much all are. And then the yellow is, we have a narrow network called Select. It's healthcare partners in LA, it's Prime Care in the Inland Empire, St. Joe's Newport in Orange County, Northern California not available. Then we have another HMO on the right, Value HMO, which is Prospect and Heritage. In that network, it's a narrow HMO. And then we have our self-funded networks on level funding, which are not shown here because they are EPOs, not HMOs. Local Plus, Open Access Plus in, they're EPOs, they're far more better access and a little higher in price than these HMO products. So my point is, when you're done presenting, we're going to have a medical group and a product that there's going to be zero disruption, if they buy everything. And that is our goal for the minority community. Initially, when we did this program, and you may have heard, it was like, let's try to promote certain narrow networks. And now we're into, let's have zero disruption. If the employees,
Bob, I'd like to just, so a group will get, the group, like a proposal, like they've got a great RX score, you're ready to release a great proposal. So a group will see the Cigna full HMO, Select HMO in Southern California, and then they'll also have the EPO options. Is that correct?
Yeah, so let's talk about that. If you get an RX review score that is better than 1.00, you're probably better going level funding and Local Plus in, OAP in, and PPO, as opposed to HMO, which is the select HMO value or full HMO. If you have a group that is running more poorly, they benefit from capitation, and the HMO networks seem to be more stable and better priced than the others. So you can use that as a benchmark. You get the GRX score. If it's great, you want to participate, level funding. If it's bad, you want the carrier or the medical group to have the risk, not your client. You're better off in an HMO environment. That's in general. But you and I both know that even some of your younger, healthier groups, they just feel more comfortable in an HMO. They like the delivery system. And over 100, that's available, but under 100, it's not. So that's where we sit. Make sense?
I'd like to offer a little more clarification. So if for an under 100 group, are they going to get HMO options and EPO options, or just EPO?
Just EPO.
Okay, so I think that's real important, that if you're under 100, you're going to get an EPO option, not
Right.
And then if you're over 100, you'll get the HMO and EPO, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Now, if you're over 100, but you insure under 100, you get HMO and EPO options.
Good.
Because you're
Okay.
outside of SB 161.
Right. So it's driven by the size of the client, the group, not necessarily what's enrolling, who's enrolling, and how many are enrolling, I should say.
Exactly.
So it's driven by the eligibles, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so forgive me, Bob, but I'm confused. I thought last we talked, you said that the level funding, which would be less than 100, they had access to the PPO network. Now I'm hearing EPO.
Yeah, they're one and the same. When I say basically it's our in-network only PPO. And then in my old school, they call that an EPO. I don't even know what they
it
call
is
it
an
today.
EPO. Okay,
They just don't have out-of-network benefits,
network
basically,
benefits. Okay,
on the
very
PPO.
good. And
And then we have a narrow EPO network
Mhm.
and it's called it's the full PPO network minus 35% of the docs, and we call that local plus.
How is it
And you
on the
get like a
hospitals?
10 to 12% discount. All hospitals are in,
Cedars,
but yeah, Cedars is in UCLA, but we purposely took away the medical groups that feed into Cedars. See
okay.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. Are they utilized as centers of excellence?
Well, you'll see that even though we tried to get rid of all of them, we still have, you know how Cedars-Sinai Medical Group has their own group of physicians. They're excluded, but there's still others that are in the network that have practicing rights that can refer in.
Right.
But all of Cedars, like emergency room, urgent care, they're all in. So the facilities are all in everywhere.
Bob, for my friends in the north, we've got Stanford, UCSF, all those hospitals, correct?
Yes, all the Cigna is kind of like a high end. You know, we've developed relationships with the key providers.
Okay.
Up north, we have Sutter, Stanford, all of them are in. We had a little hiccup with Dignity, but now we got them back in, so we're in good shape there. And that's that. Yeah.
Thanks. That was actually my question.
Just Bob.
Thanks.
Okay, Bob. Just let's just be real clear. Like over 100 is the only time you get an HMO, and Cedars would be in the HMO in that case, correct?
Correct.
Right.
In the full, not
not in the narrow.
Yeah.
So just
Not in the narrow.
to address Jennifer's question, they would have Cedars in the EPO for under 100, and then in the HMO for over 100.
Correct. So over 100, you have access to everything. So under 100, you have Local Plus, which has the hospital in there. Local Plus is the narrow in-network only PPO, I call it EPO. And then you will also have OAP in, which is our in-network PPO, which includes every doctor and facility. So what I'm trying to say is you're going to have a narrow network and a full network under 100 and over 100. And when I say full, it's everybody. So you'll have no disruption. That's what we're trying to promote with the minority owned.
Bob, do you have a listing like this of your EPO and your narrow EPO showing the?
That's a great question. I've been so this is important, and the PPO and the EPO and the local plus and all that business. Those are they don't contract with medical groups, per se. They do some, but most of it's one physician at a time.
Right.
So, but the reimbursement level to those physicians is pretty much double what it is on an HMO. So most of these folks that practice at these HMOs, they have down the, another door you go in and it's their PPO business. And they're in our local plus in our PPO, but it's one doc at a time. So I get this question like on, if we do our level funding plan, who's in it? Do you have a chart? I don't have a chart because it's not medical group. If you send me the physicians they're using, I send them to and they put yes, no by everybody. They do a full disruption report if you can get me some report. So do you understand what I'm saying? The reason we don't have like a local plus in grid or an OAP in, because the contract is with the physician and not with the medical group. But they're great networks, trust me, and they're all in. And they're nationwide and they're high quality. And the way you protect yourself is say, okay, give me the list of doctors that you're seeing or your key doctors. I send them to my contracting folks and they do the grid for you. It's a little bit of a pain, but I got to tell you, in today's world, we don't sell any groups without doing it now. All these customers, they're saying, okay, what's the disruption? That's at the end of the deal. It always comes down to what's the disruption percentage? How much are my HR department going to scream?
Any other questions? I know we're almost out of time. Actually, we probably are out of time. Any other last minute questions for Bob, everybody? Okay. And Bob, would you like me to share this presentation with everyone on this call? The latest one I received today.
Maybe you forgot the most important. What's commissions?
Well, no, they don't care
Anything
about getting paid.
So basically, Cigna, it's we build in what, we normally, when we quote it, we quote the standard 5, but you can build in any commission.
I just have one thing. I just wanted the awesome partners that I work with to join us today, get a full recap from you, Bob, and then I'll be distributing those leads. And just remember, there's more leads coming. So this is just the start. And then also, I would be remiss if I didn't say, if you know clients that are right for this, please, by all means, let's go after that. And then finally, if you need some help with scripting, or if you would like a little one-on-one with me on this, let's do that too, so that we can make the most of this opportunity. It's an exciting one. It's an exclusive for Dickerson, so I'm very excited about that. And I was really excited that I could invite some really important brokers to the table here. So thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I will send this recording to everyone on this call. And thank you for joining. And let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Bob,
Bye-bye.
so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.